Hello, I'm Angela Gentile with the Beaver County Office on Aging. Today I'm at the historic Captain William Vickery Mansion in Freedom. Joining me today is Colleen Dittman with the Office on Aging, who's an aging care manager working with the Caregiver Support Program, a program that supports caregivers on their journey for caring for their loved one to keep them at home where they want to be. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you, Angela. It's nice to be here.
Thanks. So tell us, what is the Caregiver Support Program?
The Caregiver Support Program provides valuable resources, assistance, and financial reimbursement for expenses to individuals who assume primary responsibility for the provision of care for an older adult or grandchild. The benefit to the caregiver is it alleviates stress associated with caregiving, and it focuses on the caregiver's well-being. It focuses on the caregiver's relationship to have the well-being of the caregiver.
Okay. So I've met over the years some wonderful caregivers, very detail-oriented, great at keeping people's health pretty even keel, keeping them out in nursing homes. So how is a caregiver eligible for this program?
Yeah, the caregiver just needs to give a call to the Beaver County Office on Aging at 724-847-2262 and let them know that you're interested in the Caregiver Support Program and if you're eligible for that program. A knowledgeable intake worker will pre-screen your eligibility, and if determined to be eligible for the program, a care manager will call you to set up a home visit for an assessment for you, the caregiver, as well as the person receiving the assistance, the care receiver. And the assessment is a detailed needs assessment that focuses on the needs of the caregiver, and while there, the care manager will obtain financial information from the care receiver, the caregiver, and anyone residing in the care receiver's home. One important note would be that with the Caregiver Support Program, the caregiver is responsible for utilizing their own funds to pay for services and support in the home, and then be reimbursed a percentage based on financial verification.
Okay, so would a caregiver have to live in the same household as the older adult needing care?
No, if the caregiver lives in Pennsylvania and assumes the primary responsibility for the care of the care receiver, they can be eligible for the program.
Okay. Now, there's some older adults who might be on Community Health Choices. That's a program for people on Medicare and medical assistance, and they can get some long-term services and supports through that program. Are they also eligible to get the Caregiver Support Program at the same time?
No, if the caregiver or care receiver are receiving waiver service, long-term services and support, or any kind of waiver program, they're not eligible for the Caregiver Support Program.
Okay. Now, as the caregiver with the program, are caregivers allowed to hire somebody for personal care for, say, things like bathing and grooming, or respite care, so they could get a break from the caretaking situation?
Yes, as the unpaid caregiver, it's your choice to hire who you choose, as long as it's not a family member, to help you with personal care, companionship, respite care.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, we get calls in our office people often asking, can I get paid to provide care for my loved one? So under the Caregiver Support Program, is this permissible that a caregiver can be paid?
No, under the Caregiver Support Program, neither the caregiver nor family members can be paid to provide services to the care receiver.
Okay. Now, can the caregiver be reimbursed for, say, personal care supplies that they need to purchase to keep their loved one at home?
Yes, if the caregiver is purchasing services or supplies for the caregiver on an ongoing basis, they can be reimbursed for those. Consumable items such as toilet paper, soap, shampoo are not reimbursable, as well as any services or support that would be provided by a third-party insurance or a third-party payer.
Okay. Okay, and now we have a lot of two-story homes in Beaver County. Houses were built many decades ago. when people weren't thinking about how were they gonna access the home, everybody was young and got in there, and as people age, sometimes mobility changes and now you need a wheelchair. And is there any help through this program, maybe for the ramp or installation of a ramp so people could continue living at home?
Yes, with the caregiver support program, there is part of that. You can get home modifications or assistance with assistive devices. So with the program, adaptive equipment, home modifications can be made if it's to improve the functionality of the older adult, improve safety, uh, improve the accessibility of the entranceway to the home or such. They can be eligible for reimbursement. There are bids that need to be done for these projects and approval from the care manager before reimbursement can take place. Also to note that there is a $2,000 lifetime cap on assistive devices and home modifications.
It's wonderful. Now, we've been talking about a lot of things that can be reimbursed through the program. Services, supplies, assistive devices, home modifications. Sometimes people, though, need to read something or have access to different resources. Do you have that available through the program?
Yeah, your care manager can provide you with links to services, support within the community, and the Beaver County Office on Aging also has a resource library that you can utilize for questions you may have on decision making, primary care, or training to be a caregiver. Your care manager can also be contacted to consult as needed.
Okay. Now, sometimes grandparents end up having guardianship of grandchildren for various reasons. Maybe their child passed away, maybe their child is having medical issues and can no longer care for a child. So sometimes that's unexpected for a grandparent, and they maybe weren't expecting to have those expenses of raising a child and the things that they need to have today. So is there any funding available through caregiver support program to help grandparents with their grandchildren?
Yes, within the caregiver support program, there is a grandparent program for grandparents that have legal custody or assume primary responsibility for their grandchild under the age of 18. They still need an assessment and still have to complete financial verification, but they can receive a percentage of reimbursement for supplies such as camp, seasonal clothing, school supplies, maybe a musical instrument if they're interested in the band.
Well, that's wonderful. Now again, tell us, how can people reach you if they're interested in getting the caregiver support program?
Yes, just call the Beaver County Office on Aging at 724-847-2262, and an eligible intake worker will help you with your eligibility requirement.
Great. Well, I'd like to thank Colleen Dittman for joining us and explaining the caregiver support program. These questions and answers will appear in the upcoming edition of the Beaver County Senior News, which is going to be available for pickup in early July in locations all throughout the county. I'm Angela Gentile of the Beaver County Office on Aging. Keep watching our YouTube videos as we present information on programs and services available to older adults in our county.